Camera's rolling. You are good to go.
Alright, so for our speech today, we chose to talk about exotic dancing. Honestly, we feel that in the world that people view strippers, female and male strippers or exotic dancers differently, and they're not accepted that well. And we're here to tell you why you should accept them. We understand there's pros and cons, but we want to let you know that stripping really isn't that bad. They're just like us. You know, they handle everything the same way. And we're going to talk about the history a little bit, talk about the pros and cons, like I said already, and then also talk about how society views men and women differently, and who's accepted more and all that good jazz. So I'm going to pass it on to Lexi.
Okay, so first I'm going to talk about the history of stripping. It kind of starts off with Victorian burlesque, which was in 1830s and the 90s so pretty much it was a comedic thing. They would take, famous plays and whatnot and make it kind of like a funny, ditzy thing. And then as the years go on, it was brought to America in the 40s, and it was popularized in the 1868. So burlesque was still left there, and it was a striptease, so it wasn't full nudity. There wasn't anything really too risque. It was more of like a sexual, like to entice the men. And then when it came to America in the 70s, that's when the money was brought into it. Women were getting money, and then that was full nudity. And then obviously topless, that's when tips were allowed. And then in the 90s, like I said, women such as Dita Von Teese, she was famous, and she was a burlesque woman. Okay, so how they differ. So if you ask Dita Von Teese, which I watched a video on her and how she talks about the difference, and burlesque is keeping the 30s and 40s alive. So the way that it was an actual art form, they came up and did their comedic thing rather than coming up there and getting dollar bills and shaking it for the guys. So it's very different in the way that people see it, especially those women who are dancing. And then exotic dancing is a form of striptease, but it's just been taken to the next level. So, it's been Americanized so that it's more sexual and money. So, yeah.
Next, I'm going to talk about some of the pros of stripping. One of the pros, obviously, is you get sleep during the day, depending on the kind of person you are. If you like sleeping during the day or night, I guess could be a con. One of the articles that I had come across was about a woman who had been working a job and then turned to stripping, and as you can see, a quote from her was, "I could work one amateur night, which isn't even a full packed night, and she could earn about 85% of the profit she earned in a full 40-hour week from her last job." So I don't know about you guys, but I would do something to earn what I could earn in full 40 hours in one day. That would be very nice. It is a self-esteem booster. People being around you, looking at you and admiring your body and giving you money just for you to, dance is definitely a self-esteem booster for most people. And I guess you can get some kind of a instant gratification just purely off of it. Just the way that people look at you could be good and bad. Some of the cons of stripping is night shifts. It's all night long. Some strip joints go from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. It's late. So if you're not a night person, stripping's not for you. And it's hard on the body. It's an exercising thing. If you don't exercise,
don't strip.
Yeah, don't do it. Pretty much. It'll be tough on your body. Another con of stripping is having parents finding out. A lot of times, they're not too into that, and depending on who your friends are, they might not be a fan of it either. And if you are religious, the "what would Jesus do" question comes into play. And another con from stripping is if that was the only thing, say if that was the only job you had, you either have to lie to your next employer or tell them that what you work, and depending on who your employer is, that could do some damage there. And I wouldn't join any kind of a relationship if you're trying to be a stripper. It's just hard, having somebody go out all night long and have people, look at them pay him to dance in front of them. It could get real tough, and that would be one of the cons. That's basically most of the cons of stripping.
So, my opinion is kind of like a controversy of who's accepted more. I go to a lot of strip clubs. I go around a lot of male reviews, and in my eyes, and I've hung around a lot of male strippers as well. So like in my eyes, I know that a lot of women like are like, oh my God, he's a stripper, girl, look at him, he looks good, keeps his body nice, he can dance, and all that other jazz. And seeing the difference between a strip club and a male review, men actually dance more. So it's kind of more, I know everybody's thinking like, what? But women got the pole? No, women are like soft dancers. All they want to do is just shake their butt and get their money and walk away. Whereas men, they actually play music and actually do like live dances as well as lap dances included in that. So society that I hang around, when, like I said, women love the men, they think they're sexy, they support them, and as well as other male strippers support other male strippers. So they'll have like different, it's in a couple pictures later, they'll have different shows, and they're like, hey, you know, I know you're a really good dancer, and I know this type of crowd, they're gonna have a lot of money trying to come in out. And they'll support each other. Whereas female strippers, they're just out for themselves. They don't really care about any other female stripper. They just care about getting their money, shaking their tits, and walking away. And a lot of women view the same women who will go to a male review will sit there and turn around and look at the female stripper and say, oh, they don't value themselves, they have low standards, and they need to respect themselves more. But what's the difference between a man shaking his genitals in the lady's face and a woman doing the same thing? There's really no difference. And society really views women, puts them down when they're just trying to make a buck, like he said. One night, 40 hours. I mean, if I only got to work one day a week and pay all my bills in one night and then some, like, I don't care. Like, I would rather do that instead of anything else. And then this is one of the pictures that I got from, it's a guy, NLC Hollywood. I actually know him. He's like a close friend of me and my family's. And he has like these shows in New York and Jersey all the time. And he gets them, and you know, this is what their flyer would look like. And that's what I said about supporting each other. So now, when I looked online onto this website, I believe it was, let me see, We Women or whatever. It was comparing men versus women. They said, online they said that men were too touchy and they, you know, were revealed too much, more than women did. And then they also said that they were cheesy, like it was corny, cheesy, not exciting at all. I don't personally agree because, like I said, it's like a big old party when I go to a male review, whereas if I go to a strip club, I'm just sitting there and waiting for a big booty girl walk on past. Like, I don't want to wait. I want to have a good time while I at least wait for something. And then they also said online that women have better stage sets, which I can't agree, because they actually have a legit club, whereas men don't. And then they said that women dance better, which I don't agree with, and they have just enough clothes where it's a tease instead of like giving you the full deal Holyfield, real deal Holyfield, all at once. And then the mental, what it can do to your mental. I saw on Dr. Stu's blog online that it was Daniel Downs and Gloria Cowan, and they were teachers at California State University, and did a 2006 research on about 40 women who were exotic dancers and about the same amount who were just average women, and they compared things, and really overall there was no difference. They talked about how strippers prize their physical appearance more than the average woman, but you have women who are not strippers that are highly conceited more than the other average women as well. So really there's no difference in that. It affects their self-esteem, whether you strip or not, you're going to be insecure or not. It's just the way women are, it's just the way they grow up, and it's just the way of life. And also doubts in relationships, just as he said, he wouldn't be with a stripper. But I mean, a lot of people don't want to be with anybody else anyway, and you're always going to be insecure about that relationship sometimes anyway. You're always going to have your doubts. Are they doing this? Are they doing that? You know, what are they doing when I'm not around? No matter what type of job they have. So your job type, being a stripper, can affect the personal relationship a little bit more, but if you already have that understanding, then I don't see how it will really affect it any more than it already would than a normal relationship. Married people have problems all the time. Also, I know this guy, his name is Sensation, and he's a really close friend as well, and available for booking. Like, this, is this really a job? available for booking. Models have booking. Actors have booking. Stars have bookings for just appearances. Yes, it is a job. He has to promote himself, just like any other business would promote themselves to get booked or get employed by anybody. They're signed as independent contractors. I know you already know what an independent contractor is because we're cosmetologists. We have to pay to work just like strippers do. They have to pay the DJ. They have to pay the housewoman at the end of the night just so that way they can be able to get out and dance. Just like we have to pay booth rent to do hair. It's the same thing. It's just a different title. They pay taxes just like we do. And at the end of the day, they only keep 60 to 60% of their wages, which in our world, when we get our tips or anything, we would keep that same amount, or anybody else getting a regular paycheck would keep only 60% of their wages as well. After you get done paying all your bills, your car note, your house note, phone bill, gas, all that good jazz, you're gonna pay the same exact amount. So, I mean, really, how much different are strippers than an average person when it comes to anything? Besides, they might make more money. That is all.
So thank you for listening. Hopefully by now you know pros, cons, the history, you know, the life of a stripper. And if you're ever thinking about becoming a stripper, just take good note as to the pros and cons and how it can benefit you. Yeah.
Got connect.
Thank you.
All right, question.